Hey guys, it's Randall with Van Bortle. Today we're going to be looking at a 206, which I have behind me here. One of the most common questions I have is, do I get a 182 or a 206? And while a 182 will fit the majority of people's missions, there is a mission or use when you would go to the 206. So the 206 is a 6-place airplane. So if you have 3 kids, 4 kids, your company or regional travel, and you're hauling some guys around, that's what the 206 is for. So the 206 is equipped with a Lycoming TIO 540 AJ1A. It's a 310 horsepower turbocharged engine. It has a service ceiling of 26,000 feet. That's way up there. I mean, you're up there with the turboprops, with the Meridians, your TBMs, your King Airs, and all that other stuff. And your airliners aren't too far above you there as well. But you can go up there and true right at 165 knots true. One of the reasons to go up to that kind of an altitude is if you're going to pick up a huge tailwind. A great altitude for it in the mid-teens, like around 17,000. You don't have to have an oxygen mask on, you can keep a cannula on, and you can clear any obstacle in the country. But it just has a lot of capability to do a lot of different things. You can go up high, you can do mid-range altitudes, low altitudes, you have built-in oxygen. If you want to do the higher altitudes, you do have prop de-ice boots on the turbo models like this one. The easiest way to tell the difference between a 182 and a 206 is primarily the amount of seats. So 182 is 4 seats, 206 is 6. 2 windows on the side of the airplane on the 182 and 3 on the 206. You'll also have on the 206, you'll have a cargo door in the back. So while you don't have the co-pilot door like you do on the 182s, although there is an STC to put one in if someone ever decided to do so, you do have a very wide opening cargo door. So this is a very nice feature, especially if you're loading people from the back or cargo. And while we're back here, I just want to show you the versatility of this airplane. This could be used for, a family of 4 or 4-person airplane, and they just carry a lot of stuff with them. If they're going to do that, there's a little latch right here. You can lower that seat down, and then you can use this point all the way to the back for baggage, cargo, dogs, whatever you like. You can also pull these pins down here on the seat, and this whole entire third row seat comes out of the airplane. So when that's out of the airplane, these 2 back seats will go all the way back in their tracks, and you'll have the whole entire rear of the airplane for cargo or whatever you're carrying around. I've had customers that carry skis or bicycles or you name it. So this particular 206, again, it does have prop de-ice boots on the prop, has active traffic, given with the twin blade antennas on the roof of the airplane. You do have dual LED landing and taxi lights with recog. So in that recog position, they'll actually flash back and forth. And then when you land and you get on the ground, you get below, I think it's 50 knots or so, the lights will automatically go to solid taxi. But they'll be in recog in the air, flashing back and forth so people can see you coming from a long ways away. You do have LED nav lights, LED strobes. This particular airplane does have air conditioning, hence the vents on the rear. These are stabilizer abrasion boots, so this is an option you can put on pretty much any 182 or 206. It's handy if you're going to do any off-paved surface applications. It'll keep rock chips and things like that from dinging up the horizontal stabilizer. I do get a lot of questions from customers on what the HD means when they see it on the tail. So HD means heavy duty, 3,800 pound gross weight. Now there's going to be some 206s that are HD. They might not say HD on the tail, but if they weren't HD from the factory, which I think was 2016 and on, there's a couple of other ways to achieve that on the other 206s. One of those is Flint tip tanks, very popular option. Not only does it give you 30 gallons of additional usable fuel, but another 200 pounds of gross weight. So your gross weight will go from 3,600 to 3,800, which is the same gross weight as an HD. Or, if you don't need the extra fuel and you don't want to do the tip tanks, you can do an HD upgrade on the other versions. That's simply an STC through Textron, and there's a software upgrade involved, and that'll also boost your gross weight up. So that was a quick little walk around and introduction on the 206, so let's go take it up for a flight.
Lane County Traffic Station Air Charlie's here, taxi main ramp to runway 20 via Bravo, Lane County. Right now we're doing the run up, so we're going to run it up to 1800 RPM, check the mags and the vacuum system, just make sure everything is running properly before we depart. Okay, left mag, drop, rides in the EGTs, right, good drop, rise in the EGTs. Alright, 10 degrees flaps will demonstrate how fast the 206 gets off the ground. There is a decent little crosswind today, so we're not getting much help on the nose, but this airplane will just leap off the ground. Plain County traffic, stationary by Charlie Sierra, departing runway 20 via south departure, Saline County. Power set, oil pressure is good, and we're off. All right, so we just took off and we're getting established in the climb now. Yeah, so we're climbing out of 1,900 feet right now, getting right at 1,000 feet per minute. Climbing at 92 knots. Actually, now we're up to 1,250 or so. So yeah, that's one of the great things about the 206 is that climb performance. You get that 310 horsepower really comes into play. We get off the ground really fast, has a great rate of climb. These short field landings are incredible as well. If there's a single word to define the 206 and the mission for it, it's utility. And this can be a family with 2 or 3 kids and a dog or 2 and their bags, and load everything up and go cross country on a trip. If you're looking for the versatility and the utility, that's the 206. There's great payload, lots of room in it. You can change stuff around, like you can either have 6 seats total, like what we have behind us now, or that third row seat, you can fold that seat back down and just make a platform all the way across to the back end of the baggage to load up a lot of gear or huge dog kennels or bicycles or whatever you have. So it just allows you to do a lot of different things with the same airplane. The HD for the 206 is basically representative of an airplane with a gross weight increase. The heaviest I would probably say is like, the missions that DNT was doing. You'd have 5 guys in there, all their gear and bags, and these aren't a couple guys and their wives. These are 5 full-figured men, and their equipment and all that stuff. And they'll head out from Arkansas and head to Orlando or wherever. So, but even if you have kids, bulky car seats, and all their diaper bags and all the stuff that goes along with it, and the bags that Mama wants to bring and everything else, it gives you the ability to pretty much haul whatever you want. 206s, you can land them on pavement, you can land them on dirt, long runways, short runways, all kinds of stuff. They have built-in oxygen for high altitude operations. I mean, the service ceiling's 26,000 feet. I mean, you got to think about that, 26,000 feet. That's 3,000 feet below RVSM airspace. So you're sitting cruising along at 26,000. There's airliners going just not too high above you, maybe another 6,000 feet above you. You're up there with those guys. You're definitely up there with the turboprops. You can go up there, get about 165 knots true airspeed. You can still do about 700 miles. Tip tanks, you can do about probably 950 or so. But if you get up there, 26,000, you can throw the oxygen on, go up high, pick up a really good tailwind, and say you're cruising at 165 and you have about 40 knots on the tail like I did coming over from Arlington today. I mean, that's 205 knots across the ground. So that's nothing to squawk about a utility type airplane. It's really good speed. So we did the video a while back on the Turbo 182. This is kind of its big brother. So there's really, that Turbo 182 fits a lot of different people in a lot of different missions. And then you have that maybe other family or that business where they need to carry that other person. And it could be that family that has that third child or whatnot, and that's the reason you go to a 206. Now, I have a lot of customers ask, do I get a 182 or a 206? And we've always talked to customers about the 80-20 rule. You buy an airplane for what you're going to use it for 80% of the time, not 20%. So if you only carry a 5th or 6th person, twice a year, it makes a lot more sense to get the 182. And on that one trip, somebody can airline that day. But if it's part of your normal mission that you're going to be doing most of the time, whether it's a lot of weight, a lot of people, a lot of cargo, that's when you decide you might want to go to the 206 versus the 182. There's a lot of airplanes that are very sensitive when it comes to weight and balance. 206 isn't so much. You still follow the weight and balance envelope. You have to try a little bit harder to get it outside the envelope. So they're, what I like to say, they're pretty benign in that area. Easy to load and easy to stay within CG. There's some airplanes that are very prone to going aft really easily, some going forward, but both 182s and 206s are really easy to work with in that regard. You can use 10 degrees flaps if you want at 140 or below. So if you're needing to drop a lot of altitude quick, you can always just be at 140 or below, drop 10 degrees flaps, and get a pretty good descent rate without having to pull your power out and maintain cool traffic.
15 to the south at 39.
But yeah, as far as the speeds and all that stuff, they're very, very similar to the 182. They fly the same, they land the same. You know, the 206 is a little bit heavier, and you can feel that it's a heavier airplane. But there's just a transition for a guy from 182 to a 206. There's nothing to it. Another great fact about the 206, and it goes along the lines with the 182. It's a huge safety feature for them is how slow you can actually get them. So say worst case scenario, you did have an engine out and you had to do a forced landing somewhere, you know, with full flaps, you can get this thing down to 50 knots or so, and maybe even up a little bit below. So you don't have those fast stall speeds. You have very low stall speeds on these airplanes. Yeah, one of the cool features when you have the G1000 NXI is you have what's called visual approaches. So there's some airports that you go into, and I'm one of the people that, you know, whether I'm VFR or IFR or whatever I'm doing, just for that additional situational awareness, I like to load an approach in. It verifies where I am, that I'm on the right runway, pointed towards the right runway. First of all, my glide path is there, and where I should be on my descent to the runway. Well, some airports and some runways don't have approaches to both sides.
Like 4315 Quebec, downwind departure to the southwest line.
Some airports don't have instrument approaches, or they might only have an instrument approach to one direction or one side of the runway. So what they have now is called the visual approach. So I can go to procedure, like I'm going to select a normal approach, select the visual for runway 2. We started it straight. And we can set minimums if we like, and load that. And what that's going to do, as you'll see, it just pointed our HSI, you know, the final approach course for the HSI. And then what that's going to do is basically going to mimic an instrument approach procedure. Now, it's not approved for instrument use, but it's for situational awareness only. But you know, I'll have a glide path, I'll have lateral guidance, and it's basically, I think it's set up on a 3-degree glide path, if I remember correctly. It just gives me that additional affirmation that, yes, I am going to the right runway, I am about where I need to be on my glide path, I'm lined up with it. Like I say, that extra situational awareness is always nice. We're established on the visual now, so it shows that, you know, our HSI is lined up for the runway. We look out here, there's the runway. Our glide slope is coming down. The autopilot will actually fly this visual approach. We're about to intercept now. Glide path
downwind runway
goes green. That is armed now. Now the airplane's starting to descend. So it is following this visual approach down to the runway. Again, it's not approved for instrument use, but it's great for VFR conditions, just to give you that extra bit of awareness of where you are laterally and vertically from the runway for your approach. Saline County traffic, Station Air 5 Charlie Sierra, 3 mile final, 02 Saline County.
Traffic, Chancellor 3 Bravo Mike, turn in left to base runway 27 Carlisle.